what is that aftertaste?
Right? What is this flavor? It is a wild journey, my friends.
Hello Internet, welcome to Food Theory, where today we follow up on our Prime video with even more Prime. Double Prime. Prime squared. So I'm gonna go the Liver King because we're getting primal up in here. Anyway, you get the idea. This time around, we're gonna be taking a closer look at Prime Energy, the energy drink variation of the Logan Paul backed beverage company. As a refresher, last time we covered Logan's take over the drink aisle, we were specifically talking about his hydration drinks, basically your Gatorade equivalents, or as we found out, your definitely not Gatorade and pretty darn misleading equivalents. If you missed that one, you could stop over there first, or you just carry on with this episode and then check that one out at the end. But the upshot was, in true Logan Paul form, everything was not quite what it appeared to be when it came to his prized sports beverage. TLDR, not all electrolytes are created equally. Anyway, fast forwarding to today, the reason we're back here talking about Prime again is that I didn't realize when I started that last episode that Prime actually has itself two separate lines of drinks. One is the hydration drink line that we just covered, and the other is an energy drink line. What's the difference? Primarily, anything that's classified as a sports drink is likely to have some kind of electrolyte to help you replenish what you lose when you sweat, but there's zero caffeine there. Think classic Gatorade or Powerade drinks. An energy drink, on the other hand, is gonna have itself some caffeine or other stimulant in there as the primary selling point. Think Red Bull, Monster, and Rockstar as the most famous in this category. And honestly, when I started research on that last episode, I had no idea that Prime offered both, even while I was standing there in the aisle at the store.
They're setting it relative to everything else is confusing, because on one hand it's like, oh, it's nestled between sports drinks and energy drinks, but the consistency and organization is just off, right?
Prime is yes caffeine, then no caffeine, then no caffeine. It's really inconsistent. There's nothing that would tell you right away that you're in a caffeine section or a non-caffeine section. You just really have to look at the bottle.
I mean, look, it's the same brand, it's the same logo, it has a lot of the same flavors, just the energy ones are in cans. Okay, be honest with me, I was like the last to find this one out, right? Fine, I'll be honest, I'll take the L, but as soon as I made that revelation, I figured out that we had ourselves a two-parter on our hands. So here I am, back for more delicious Prime.
Okay.
Or not, we'll just have to find out. Now, it's no surprise that Logan Paul and his Prime brand are also dabbling in energy drinks. The energy drink industry is just massive, and it's continuing to grow as we all try to do more at home and at work, all trying to keep pace with the impossible standards of the internet. In 2020 alone, the global market was valued at $45.8 billion, and it's expected to grow to $108 billion by 2031. Every celebrity seems to want to get a piece of that, from Josh Richards to Joe Rogan to The Rock. Now, Logan Paul and KSI have thrown their hats into yet another ring to go toe-to-toe with the Goliaths that are Red Bull and Monster.
The #1 selling energy brand in the world versus Prime Energy. They're both the US version and they're both 12-ounce cans. 160 calories versus 10 calories. Ooh. 38 grams of sugar versus 0 grams of sugar.
What?
114 milligrams of caffeine, we got 200 milligrams.
Ain't no way!
And when it comes to electrolytes, 150 milligrams of electrolytes, we double it, 300.
Oh! My God!
Just like when we analyzed Prime against Gatorade for hydration, I'm here to answer a few questions about whether Prime measures up to the big names in the space, all to find out what goes on behind these buzzy beverages, and whether all the marketing here is above board.
So how does one scientifically determine the best energy drink? Well, there are three criteria as I see it. First off is just overall energy levels. Does this make you feel more energetic? Secondly, what does the crash look like at the end of that energy period? Are you coming down smooth for an easy landing, or are you like, oh my gosh, please kill me now? But criteria number 3 is why I'm sitting in front of this giant thing of cans here. I want to test out the flavor. Obviously, since all of these things have basically the same types of ingredients, how do they taste? That's gonna be a huge variable here. So outside of this room, as we speak, we have members of Team Theorists who are ingesting a variety of these different things. This has been happening over the last week. They're taking surveys, analyzing their energy levels, their crash levels. So across the board, we're gonna have a decent data set here to tell us what's giving them energy and what's giving them good crashes at the end of this. And as far as taste, we're gonna be bringing on 5 different guests to join me on the couch, weigh across these different beverages and see which one actually doesn't make us want to die when we ingest it. Now, obviously, we can't test every single energy drink that's on the market today. This is like the biggest trend in beverages right now. There are more of these things coming out by the week. And so we decided to pick 5 of the top selling brands across the board, representing a good variety of different flavors and options and sizes. Also, you know, as I think about it, we picked 5 because 5 is a prime number. And this episode is all about primes. So in the end, can Prime stand up to the test? Or should I say 3 tests that we've designed for it today? We're about to find out.
Now, before I start caffeinating myself until my atoms start to vibrate, we have to understand what exactly we're tasting here. Most people choose their energy drink primarily based on flavor, including our team when we asked them in a survey this week as part of this episode. They basically assume that as long as they've got plenty of caffeine and a decent flavor, they're getting the job done when it comes to energy drinks. What most people don't realize though is that under the hood of these things are a whole bunch of variables when it comes to ingredients, sweeteners, even the type of caffeine you're drinking. And yes, there is in fact more than one type. On top of just the energy though, there's also vitamins, sometimes juice, or in the case of something like Prime, extra ingredients like coconut water that are supposed to make them healthier. Is that true? Is it not? We're gonna talk about that after the taste test portion. All the energy drinks that we're consuming today will have basically 4 things in common. They're all gonna start with water, they're gonna contain some type of sweetener, some type of vitamin blend, and of course, crushing amounts of caffeine. First, we're gonna find out which one tastes the best, and then we're gonna size them up and see how they compare based on the chemistry of their stimulant formulas.
So round number 1, we've got ourselves what we're dubbing the original flavors of each of these energy drinks. Cheers.
Ding.
Ah, yes, the flavor of synthetic berry.
Bing.
Smoother, much
Right?
smoother. Round number 3, here we go, let's see.
Ooh.
Bing!
This reads more like Hawaiian Punch to me.
All right,
Okay.
5.
Oh, we're back to carbonation. Do you have a winner? Is that the goal here?
Yeah.
The winner?
Yeah, the
Okay.
winner. The losers are us, I feel like. Next up, the blue round. Joining me on the couch is actually new theorist face, Rachel.
Hello, happy to be here.
Let's try some blue flavors, shall we? Oh,
I
I'm
really
feeling
don't
it.
like this. I don't like this first one at all.
This
for
one is the
sure.
most synthetic of
Yeah.
all of them. Definitely the least blue. All right, next up is the orange round, and we've got ourselves Josiah on the couch.
I'm excited to be back for some Prime.
That is so good.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh man, that is monster results from Monster. This is, hey, we took the orange flavor, filtered it through like a coffee strainer, and then we mixed it with like water from that like old house down the street. It was an odd journey. This round is citrus flavored, joined on the couch by Jason. Bing, bing. Here we go.
You're just drinking?
As opposed to what?
You gotta waft
Well,
it?
it's got a little sippy hole.
You can smell. Put your nose up to that and suck.
Yeah, spoiler alert, slightly fizzier lemonade. Next up, round red with my special guest, Santi.
Hello.
Hey, so this is another new face on the Theorist couch. You are also the food theory creative director.
I am indeed.
What's your experience with energy drinks?
You know, not much. My body is my temple, so I try not to ransack it with chemicals.
Oh, wow, that is a
Nah.
punch in the face.
If this one was a gentle, like, caress, if that, and here just comes the
I am seeing all the universe right now. Oh, the caffeine is surging through my veins. My head is like a rave party, and I'm the only guest. I just want to take a nap. That is the antithesis of what this episode was supposed to do. I just want to sleep now. Ah! So, what have we learned here today? Well, one thing is immediately clear. Monster crushed the competition. It won 3 out of our 5 flavor categories and was a top contender in pretty much the other 2. Meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum, oh boy, Red Bull. It might give you wings, but it's not giving you a whole lot of flavor. This thing sucked. It was dead last in pretty much every category. You might have been the first, but you also happen to be the worst. Now, as far as Prime goes, our topic of the day, across the board, pretty solid. Not necessarily topping out every single category, but very consistently in the top 2. So, really good, but that's only part of our equation here. We still have to look at the amount of energy being delivered, as well as the crash. And for that, we have to go to our other set of data.
Thanks for the handoff there, Live Action Me. Let's analyze the results, shall we? To begin, the one thing that everyone agreed to was that Red Bull was universally the absolute worst.
oh god.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't like that.
Oh, weird.
I don't like that.
What is this?
The flavor on the back of this is not nice. I swear, it's like a chalky aftertaste of like a Pepto or a Necco wafer.
Across every flavor category, it was always in the bottom. So if you're looking for flavor, just choose literally any other drink. And with that, we cross Red Bull off a potential sponsors list on the Theorist office wall. So while the worst across all the categories were very clear, the taste test reactions were much more split when it came to top contenders. Sure, within each individual category, the 2 people testing each color almost always agreed on the best brand, but each color was coming from a wildly different best brand. When it did come to the top contenders, there were 2 clear favorites. Both Monster and Prime were voted best in class 4 times each. So when it comes to flavor alone, they were our 2 clear leaders. And again, this mirrors exactly what we found last time in our hydration episode. Prime, across the board, is just strong when it comes to flavor. Where it struggled last time, though, was with the science. So from here on out, we're going to be talking about how the ingredients in all of these drinks stack up next to each other, and as a final cherry on top, we're going to look at the survey data from our team, who we asked to evaluate each drink for its energy effectiveness and the amount of crash at the end of the day. So Logan, you might have won the flavor round, but we're about to find out how you stack up to some serious stimulant science. The first thing we need to do is talk about the energy component of all energy drinks. Every single one of the drinks that we tasted had caffeine as a common ingredient, but interestingly, not all caffeine is created equally. There are actually several types of caffeine present in energy drinks, but we often pick them off the shelves not understanding what those differences are. Usually when we think of caffeine, we think of coffee, but caffeine sources vary quite a bit aside from just the coffee bean. Caffeine can also come from guarana, a fruit native to the Amazon basin which has anywhere between 3 to 4 times the amount of caffeine in its seeds than coffee. Guarana is also likely to digest slower, thereby releasing caffeine more slowly into the body. That leads to fewer rapid jitters and more sustained awake feelings throughout the day. Taurine is another stimulant in energy drinks, one that was originally rumored to come from bull semen. Yep, you heard that one right, but congratulations to bulls and to us, this is not actually true. It actually originated from their bile. Nowadays, it's mostly synthetically made, but just a fun little fact there. Woo! Bull bile goes down easy. That said, our body actually makes its own taurine in high concentrations in our brain, heart, and muscles. Taurine is not the same as caffeine, but there is some tenuous research out there that says taking additional taurine supposedly boosts energy and improves athletic and mental performance. Not great, really well-founded research, but it is out there. And finally, one additional big component in lots of energy blends is the amino acid L-carnitine, which helps the body turn fat into energy. Now, your body usually makes all the carnitine it needs, but this stuff is marketed as being science-y, and maybe it helps you to lose weight. None of that is actually well supported with research, but you know, it is something that they say in the marketing. So, which energy is in which of these drinks, and what's that going to tell us about how it's going to act on our body? Of the drinks we tested, caffeine ranged from 114 milligrams with Red Bull to a whopping 200 milligrams in Prime, Ghost, and Fast Twitch, all of whom compete closely for the esports market of up-all-night gamers and interneters. Compared to those astronomical numbers, Monster sat in the middle there with 160 milligrams per can. Off the bat, it seems like if you're just going for pure caffeine amount and taste alone, Prime is going to be your answer. But that's not the end of the story. Taking a look deeper, we can actually see that the energy blends in these drinks vary a lot to give you, at least theoretically, a totally different experience that might make you reconsider whether you're going with your preferred flavor or your body's preferred source of energy. Let's start off with the simplest drink from our test group, Fast Twitch. With 5 calories, 200 milligrams of caffeine, and 0 sugar, Gatorade opts out of peddling long scientific sounding names or herbs that barely anyone's ever heard of, and instead just delivers a quick shot of caffeine mixed with a lot of juice concentrate. Don't worry, it actually contains 0% real juice. And don't you for a second think that the blatant ripoff of the FaZe Clan logo there has gone unnoticed, Gatorade. Tisk tisk, I'm watching you. So, how did our team respond to this one in our survey for the week? Well, according to the team, who took it as their primary kick of caffeine in the middle of the day, Phase Twitch, sorry, now I'm gonna be messing that one up all day. Fast Twitch took a little bit longer to kick in with milder effects than the others, thereby making it seem less like a full-on energy drink and more like a caffeinated version of the original Gatorade with less tasty flavors. Overall, it's not exciting, not offensive, kind of the way it came out in the flavor test. The bottom line here is that you're pretty safe with this stuff, but if you have a paper due in 6 hours and it's already 2 a.m., this ain't gonna be moving any mountains for you. Next up is Red Bull, our universally hated taste test loser, boasting 114 milligrams of caffeine per 12-ounce can, and also coming in at 160 calories because it's one of our fully sugared options. Now, Red Bull lists taurine as one of its ingredients. I know what you're thinking, taurine, Red Bull, Taurus means bull, it's all cutesy and clever marketing, right? To which I say, no, actually, Red Bull does not actually get its name from the thematically appropriate ingredient. That would have been too smart for them. Like everything with Red Bull in this episode, it is just lackluster and underwhelming. As we talked about before, taurine sounds exciting on the label, but there's almost nothing definitive behind it, and your body produces plenty of its own taurine practically all the time. In our in-house tests with our team members, everyone who tested one of these things had a distinctive crash every single time. Red Bull might give you wings, but it's also not giving you a parachute when you come down off its high. Across the board, Red Bull was so far at the bottom of the barrel across all 3 of our tests, and I'm just kicking it straight out of this episode. Get out of here, Red Bull. Go. On to our top 2 flavor contenders, Monster and Prime, who might have both scored highly on the taste test, but come at their formulations from vastly different angles. Prime, with its 200 milligrams of caffeine, is supposed to be the star of our show. It only has 10 calories with its top tier levels of caffeine, making it the most attractive choice. And like its less twitchy cousins over in the hydration line, Prime Energy also is flavored with coconut water, which is acting as part of the sweetener here. Because this is a natural ingredient that people use all the time, this is supposed to come off as healthy or clean, unlike all the other rival brands with their nasty chemicals. But taking a closer look at the nutrition facts here shows us that the coconut water is from concentrate, which unfortunately changes the entire ball game. It turns out the process of concentrating the water to a syrup actually damages the nutrients and enzymes that would be healthy to consume, meaning that the inclusion of coconut water from concentrate here is basically just including the sugar and none of the actual nutrients found naturally in the coconut. Prime's other claim to fame here is the inclusion of BCAAs, or branched chain amino acids. These play an important role in building and repairing muscles, which has made them the star for many supplement marketing campaigns. In theory, in food theory, this would be a great differentiator for Prime, and that's how they've marketed it. Not only is this drink giving you the energy, but it's also helping to repair your muscles while you're working out with every sip. It is a great gimmick. Unfortunately, that's all it is. The research on BCAAs from supplements versus regular food in your diet is still out, and when people do supplement their diets with BCAAs, the dosages look very different from what you're getting in a can of Prime. Prime has roughly 123 milligrams of BCAAs. Compare that to all the research studies, which are using 5 to 10 grams of BCAAs. I'll spare you that conversion there, friendos. That is 5 to 10,000 milligrams compared to Prime's 123. That means that to get a real dosage of BCAA, you'd have to consume between 40 and 50 cans worth of Prime, which, just so you know, would contain 8,000 milligrams of caffeine, likely more than enough to kill you a couple times over. So just like we saw over on the hydration side, Prime isn't lying to you about what's in it, but the ingredients that are here are either ones that look healthy and aren't, or are ones that are so badly proportioned that they're basically negligible to your body. Now, let's compare all of this to Monster, which by my assumption has always been the most chemically sounding of the brands. Call me crazy, but branding that has toxic green gamer color just doesn't look healthy for my body. And when it does come to health, Monster isn't looking strong out of the gate. It has 230 calories per 16-ounce can and 160 milligrams of caffeine. That is an electrifying 58 grams of sugar per can, nearly twice the American Heart Association's recommended amount of 36 grams of sugar for an entire day. For the sake of fairness, I'll definitely call out the fact that Monster has 0 sugar variants, one of which actually won our blue round. But since each flavor varies the recipe a bit, I'm just gonna be sticking to the original beast despite it having the worst taste.
It's like a soapy cotton candy on the back end.
If the sugar doesn't have you at a full stop though, it's worth noting that things get interesting once you start looking at the energy blend of Monster itself. One of the most prominent ingredients in its energy blend is Panax ginseng extract, which comes from a plant commonly found in Korea, China, and Siberia. Though it might not boost energy, early research shows that it might help improve cognitive performance and make you feel more alert in the right dosages. And while Monster might not reach the 200 milligram optimal dose that we see in the research, at 82 milligrams, it's certainly in the ballpark, and it's only one of 2 drinks in the entire field to contain it. It also uses guarana in its energy blend, something that no other drink in our lineup lists, despite it being one of the few ingredients shown to provide a more sustained release of energy. The major source of caffeine here is still likely synthetic, but if synthetic caffeine acts as the initial boost and is then complemented later by the guarana and ginseng to give you a longer lasting feeling of alertness and energy, well, that would make it a much more well-rounded drink than any of the others in the competition so far. And this is exactly what we wound up seeing in the data. Our team reported a high level of alertness for multiple hours while drinking Monster, and while they did report crashes, these didn't hit until 4 to 5 hours later. Most importantly of all though, it didn't leave them feeling jittery, like a lot of the other drinks in the lineup. So from a health perspective, Monster provides an interesting trade-off. If you're searching for an energy drink and you're not worried about ingesting a ton of sugar, or if you're comfortable with the non-sugar variants, this could be an excellent choice for you. But if sugar is in fact high on your no-no list, you're gonna want to look elsewhere. Between Prime and Monster, our top 2 flavor contenders, Monster is definitely the better energy blend. It also has the less misleading of the 2 labels. However, it's also the less healthy option because of that huge volume of sugar. So now the question is this the best that we can do? If we're trying to find the best energy blend with no sugary trade-off, is there any other option out there that could possibly give us the best of both worlds? Turns out the answer is yes. Our extremely unexpected champion when it comes to the actual energy drink ingredients is Ghost? No, that's the one that actively flavored itself like a Sour Patch Kid. It's gotta be pure sugar and synthetics, right? Nope, Ghost is actually shockingly good. good. Coming in with only 5 calories and a whopping 200 milligrams of caffeine in a 16-ounce can, Ghost gives you the highest proportion of caffeine to calories of any drink in the lineup. The stimulants it uses to round out its energy blend are L-carnitine and taurine, which we've talked about before and aren't likely to be huge contenders here. More than those though, there are 2 key ingredients here that we have to call out from the energy blend that make it stand out beyond anything else. The first is alpha-glycerol phosphorylcholine, or alpha-GPC for short. It's a chemical that's made in the body. It seems to increase levels of a key neurotransmitter in the brain called acetylcholine, basically a small molecule that's specifically responsible for memory and learning function. Though more research is needed for this, early evidence suggests that it might be able to help with certain physical and mental tasks depending on the dosage. The other compound that Ghost has that no one else can claim is called astrogen, a combination of Panax ginseng and Astragalus membranaceus. Despite all of these names sounding really synthetic and chemically, they're actually all natural. Astragalus actually might have antioxidant effects, which means that it may be able to protect your cells from stress and could boost your immune system. Unlike all the other brands' ingredients that we've talked about today, Ghost's key ingredients here have fairly sound research behind them, and they're not just things that we produce naturally that we don't really need more of, like taurine and L-carnitine. The last thing that I gotta call out about Ghost is the type of caffeine that's being used. Unlike all the others that fail to mention where they derive their caffeine from, usually meaning it's synthetically created using a chemical synthesis of ammonia, a gross and stinky process that we'll probably save for another day, Ghost specifies that the caffeine is from coffee beans. Why does that make a difference? Well, synthetic caffeine is more potent and more quickly absorbed by the body, whereas natural caffeine is absorbed slower, which means a less sudden spike in energy, and also a less dramatic crash than the synthetic kinds. Now, you'll likely still experience some sort of a crash, but it won't be as bad. And interestingly enough, this exact prediction played out when it came to our team's experience taking Ghost as their primary energy source for the day. They got a lot of energy, it was sustained over several hours, and though they did eventually crash, the crash wasn't nearly as bad as any of the other beverages, especially when you look at it compared to Prime and Red Bull. So at the end of the day, when it comes to energy drinks, what are you gonna go for at the store? Well, if there's one thing we can definitely say, it's that we'll be breezing straight past the Red Bull and Gatorade and then making the hard choice between taste, with either Monster or Prime, and effectiveness, the clear winner there being Ghost. At the end of the day, it just depends on what your real purpose is for drinking that energy drink. Are you sipping on the can because you like the flavor and you just want the added bonus of getting a little extra buzzy boost? If that's the case, then yeah, go for either Prime or Monster. They do taste the best. Just make sure that you're going in eyes open with that Prime. Know that it's not delivering on all the health components that it promotes. It's just caffeinated juice from concentrate. On the other end of the spectrum, if you're more serious about the energy side of your energy drink and you don't mind slurping down a liquefied Sour Patch Kid in exchange for an entire afternoon of energy, then you're headed straight for the Ghost, which is gonna make you look like a 4th grader at your job, and it's not exactly the most sippable choice, but bizarrely, it's the option for those who truly care about their energy blend. So while yes, the Prime drinkers might end up laughing at you for your juvenile choice, you're gonna be the last one standing as your coworkers and classmates start stumbling around like zombies at 3:30. But regardless of your choice, now you know what you're drinking and why you're drinking it. So get out there and start chugging. Or not, you know, we could all stand to drink just a little bit more water. All of these things, regardless of the relative level of health and caffeine and all that, all of them are probably doing just awful stuff for our systems. We are over-caffeinating ourselves to the max. Meanwhile, when it comes to drinking battery acid, I'll just be over here drinking my Diet Coke. Thanks. I've literally had enough energy drinks to last a lifetime, and I never want to see one of these things ever again. Don't you dare ask me for a sequel, by the way, because I recognize that we didn't test out Rockstar. Or, you know what, if enough of you do leave comments down below, yeah, gotta admit, it was kind of fun to be able to see through the particles of the universe for a little bit. I ascended and touched the gods. As always, my friends, remember, it's all just a theory. A food theory. Bottoms up. Did you know our sponsor for today's episode is Ritual, the obsessively researched and transparently made multivitamin that gets delivered straight to your door? It's a good thing they're here too, because I just pumped my body full of synthetic caffeine for the last 4 hours. Something tells me I'm gonna need to supplement that diet with some actual nutrition. Luckily for me, Ritual's Essential for Men vitamins contain 10 high-quality nutrients, including vitamin A, D, omega-3s, and zinc, which are going a long way to counteract all those nutritionally deficient Red Bulls I just chugged. But what do you do if you need essentials for other types of human beings? Well, don't worry, you're in luck. Ritual also has essentials for women and even one for teens. And unlike all the energy drink cans that try to oversell you on what you're actually drinking, Ritual believes in transparency. Each shipment comes with info on the way that their nutrients are sourced. That way you can track your nutrition back to its origins. Heck, they are so into transparency, the capsules themselves are transparent. Even the bottles are clear. And just like we talked about out the benefits of a slow release of caffeine into your system, Ritual designs their capsules to be delayed release as well, which helps them stay gentle on an empty stomach. And don't worry, they're vegan-friendly, non-GMO, gluten-free, allergen-free, and contain no added sugars. Again, a nice perk for me, considering I just ingested half my body weight in liquid sweetness. And hey, if you wind up liking what Ritual does, they don't just offer vitamins either. They also deliver you essential protein and a new symbiotic range. So if you're looking to get vitamins and nutrients that energy drinks clearly aren't giving you, fill those gaps in your diet with Ritual, a small step that helps support a healthy foundation for your body. Ritual is currently offering 20% off your first month by going to ritual.com/foodtheory20, and then make sure you use the code foodtheory20 at checkout. Again, that is 20% off your first month by going to ritual.com/foodtheory20 and then using the code foodtheory20 at checkout. FOODTHEORY 20. And as always, my friends, I'll see you next week.